Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Our next guest made his name on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and for 3 seasons now, Jason Jones has been lost across the country and now the world with his wife and 2 kids in TBS's The Detour. Let's take a look at the 4th season.
Come on, Nate, let's just go.
Absolutely not. Okay, we have been searching for our daughter for months, and this is the closest lead that we've had, okay? We know for a fact that she was in Machu Picchu.
In Peru.
And that guy
that
there...
you paid money to.
Who very reliably told me that in that village, just over that fence, there is a little blonde girl who ran away from America a mile away from here.
Nate, turn around.
No, never, all right? Turning around is giving up, and I don't give up on family.
Oh, you don't? You gave up on Vanessa?
She's not family. She framed you twice.
What about Edie?
She stole my sperm, shoved it up her vagina, and made a baby with it, okay? That's an insane woman. I don't give up on family that I like. 1, 2, 3.
Jason Jones, everybody, let's hear it. Hey.
Salty, salty show. I don't know if I like that.
That's the least crazy scene, I think, of this season. I think from there, that's the opening scene of the show, basically.
Yes, and I said the word vagina in the opening scene, and then we ride off, and spoiler alert: there's dead heads.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we stumble into a cartel's secret hideout.
How far have you guys come to a place where you've been told you can't do something, or do you generally know your limits?
You know, if it's funny, I go, yeah, let's do it. People say that's not funny, and I go, well, you obviously don't have a sense of humor.
I don't mean the limits of offending people. I mean limits for the network, for television.
Like a standards and practices thing?
Yeah,
for the most part, they kind of let us do what we want, which is kind of great. I think the only time they actually really censored me was in season 2. I might have told you this story back then, but they wouldn't let us show a crowning shot. It was a baby being born. And so we actually improv'd and did a reverse crowning shot from the baby's POV. So it was just the baby coming out the birth canal and the spreading and the, it's a much funnier shot.
Was that a conversation that was a back and forth, or was that something that you figured out, just try it on set and we'll see what
That was a conversation with lawyers where they're like, you can't show a vagina with a baby crowning. I'm like, what? Okay, what about from inside? And they're just like, we're comfortable with that.
I wonder who enjoys those conversations more. Is it you who gets to like laugh and be like, oh my God, my job today was trying to get lawyers to go along with a crowning shot, or them who get to go home and be like, honey, look at what this comedian wants to do, and I had to tell him he couldn't do. This is insane.
They must hate their jobs. They must.
Because they have to say no a lot?
Yeah, I think, no one likes the S&P lawyer. You know, no one likes Gus. Or whatever
That's
his
true,
name
but he
is.
gets to
Like,
himself.
Gus is calling to stomp on our creative ideas.
But every time he calls, he's like, hey guys, it's Gus here. Look, you can't say this particular, and then he has to say the words that you can't say. And I'm sure there's a part of him that's like,
I don't think he has a sense of humor, Gus. I don't think you get into S&P law if you have a sense of humor, because your job is just to say no and protect the corporation.
He's like,
and now,
I get it. It's funny. Yeah, it is funny to do that, but no.
Yes, you cannot say feckless cunt.
Did you get cut off on you couldn't say that? Or is that just an assumption that you can't
That's just an assumption I think most people say you can't say.
This isn't the UK. You can't say cunt on TV.
No, you can't. It's not an endearing word here.
There, it is an endearing word.
Oh, it's every other word in Scotland.
I do wish it was an endearing word here because it's got such a
wonderful... you just want to say it?
It's got such a wonderful punch.
I just said it. It's not that bad.
I said it too, and I have to tell you, I was weak when I said it because I was nervous immediately.
I'm going to get in trouble for this.
Yeah, it's like, feckless cunt.
Yeah.
So you're going into the 4th season. One of the things that I love about this show is that it feels like you up the ante every season, and it never does it in a way that sacrifices the quality of her. It feels like you're trying to shock people. So what is it like in the writer's room after each season? You find out you got a new one. How do you guys go about upping the ante, and how do you find out where that line is in terms of staying within the world that you've created?
It's not about upping an ante so much as it is just wanting to tell a funny story, and certainly not retread stories that we've already told. So, comedic scenarios we're just what can this family, this season, obviously you can tell from the poster, one is not with us. So it's all about looking for our daughter. And, you know, it's a scenario of putting these three dummies trying to find her and...
person who does not want to be found.
A person who does not want to be found. A person who says, I can parent myself way better than you guys can.
And maybe actually living her best life as well.
Sure. Or, you know, I can fuck up on my own.
Right.
I don't need you fucking up my life.
Right. Your fuck-ups make my fuck-ups even worse.
Yes.
So when you guys get in there, I mean, one of the things that I love about the show, though, is that you're always able, like I said, like you said, not necessarily up the ante, but make the world more insane while never feeling like it's that you don't have control over this world of the show.
I mean, we always want to ground it in a place of we want to ground it in family and what a family would do for one another. So, for instance, this season so she's missing. We think she's in Japan, so we go on. Spoiler alert again. We go on a Japanese game show. If you've ever seen a Japanese game show, they're a little crazy, a little bit. So we go on one. It's the most popular show in Japan where you endure torture for advertising time. In our case, advertising where the hell is our daughter. And in one of the games is it's called hand job karaoke. So your wife goes in a box and you put your thing in a box and you have to sing the song and get through the end of the song without completing.
What was the pitch like in the writers' room for that? Was it like this? Was it like, yeah, it's you in a box?
Well, I used to. That game is actually based on a real game that actually exists in Japan. Go watch Japanese television. I used to. One of my first jobs was dubbing Japanese television into English.
Why?
Why? Because I needed a job.
But where did you find that? How did you find that job?
I fell into it. It was so weird. It was in Canada for a Chinese company. Translating Japanese television shows into English for New Zealand.
So they translated it and then you dubbed it? You did the voices?
They had translators which never matched. So we had to, come up with little catchphrases to.
Did you do a voice for it or did you just use your voice?
I dubbed 15 different shows. Wrestling was my #1 show because I didn't even need to look at the script. It was just Japanese wrestling and you'd throw in, I was like, that's not the phrase. That's a pile driver. You got to say pile driver.
Did you have to do it in like a Japanese accent?
Like a racist voice?
Yeah, no,
no.
I wasn't sure.
No, we didn't have to do racist voices.
Well, it was like, how long ago was this? Like 20 years ago, right?
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah, at that time, it wasn't necessarily like...
It was never acceptable. I just saved you there.
No, I totally agree.
20 years ago, doing the voices was acceptable.
We're so PC now, guys.
God, why can't I just do a Japanese voice?
I'll be at the New York Comedy Club all week doing my bits.
So we are. I think we always thought a very big expression was, you know what I mean? Because we'd be talking, we'd say, hey, Ricky, how's it going? You know what I mean? Because the guy was still talking and the script didn't match.
Oh,
it was always our go-to. You know what I mean? So we thought that was...
Which is a really, actually like a really American phrase.
Sure,
yeah.
Through Canada, through the Chinese company. And the Chinese company didn't know what the hell we were saying either because they didn't speak any English.
They didn't care.
No, they didn't care. They were like, yeah, that matched. That's all they cared about was the matching.
How did you guys, because this season becomes much more international, when you're writing it, when you're crafting it, are you thinking about production, how you're going to be able to create these scenarios?
Oh, always. Like our first episode we spend...
Tibet.
In Tibet, yes. So that was shot on a side of a glacier, actually, because, we were supposed to be up in the Himalayas, and we shot that in outside Whistler, British Columbia. And we choppered everybody in every single day. It was 5 days up on the side of a mountain. 2 of the days I spent falling down the mountain, which was the best 2 days ever. And, although it's not it doesn't feel as good as it looks because it wasn't soft snow. It was all icy hardness. But yeah, you go, okay, we're wasting resources on the side of a mountain, choppering everybody in. We have to do a couple episodes that are smaller in size to be able to offset that we can shoot a little quicker than the side of a mountain.
So basically in pre-production, you think to yourself, we've got this, we're going to be able to go shoot on this glacier, but we should make sure that the next few episodes are somewhere in the season. We have a few episodes that are basically bottle episodes or take place in one. What if you don't have that written already? Or do you think about that before you even write all the episodes?
First of all, am I holding the mic way too close to my face?
I mean, mine sounds loud too, right? Doesn't it sound echo?
No. I just noticed yours is down here, and mine's like right here. So
I've been moving mine down because I think I feel like it's echoing a little bit. Doesn't it sound echo?
Your sound's echoey. Is
Yeah.
Is this better down here? No. It's better here. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. So I was right.
Don't tell me. Don't help me, guys. Thanks.
Sorry, what was your question?
Oh, about like knowing that you're shooting in Tibet. You've written Tibet into the first episode, and then do you think about where you're going to put that bottle episode in the early stages, or do you rewrite afterwards?
No, I mean we arc the whole season first, and then Japan, the Japanese game show was a bottle episode.
Right.
We shot that in 2.5 days, and because we shot it like a real game show, but set dressing, the set design was really expensive, so it kind of ate away the speed at which we shot.
Do you like thinking about stuff like this as an EP of the show, going from the Daily Show where you were a performer first and foremost to now this, and I think the Sam B Show you're an EP of as well, right?
Yep.
So now you're thinking not just as a performer but as a writer, and then as someone who has to think about budgeting.
Yeah, I wear a lot of hats, obviously, and anytime because I'm usually writing while we're actually shooting the show, and anytime the writing is done and we've finished. I mean, the writing's never done because I'm always sort of rewriting, but when the writing officially finishes, when we're on set, I feel like I'm not doing enough because I'm just thinking about every sort of little aspect of it that I'm sort of bored. And anytime I go do other acting work now, just as an actor, I'm so bored.
Do you have trouble shutting the things off in your head as to like what's going on?
I know I have to.
Of course, you can't.
I can't go up to the director of the film and go, "It's better from over here." It's a much better shot from right here.
Do you guys mind if I get in Media Village or what?
Just get this shot. Trust me, you're gonna want it in the edit.
When you're on set and you're rewriting, what are you still rewriting on set? Are you just sort of crafting the jokes, making them stronger, or fixing them?
I can always feel when something's not working the way we thought it was going to work in the room, or we realize, oh, we didn't think hard enough about this, or an actor shows up and isn't doing what we wanted them to do. You're always sort of rejiggering and remaking the show as you go along.
How often do you find that they're doing something better?
Never.
Well, that isn't true.
That is not true.
There's one actor this season who you found came in and just sort of blew you away, right?
Yes. In one of the episodes, I don't know if you guys remember Office Space, really funny Mike Judge movie. The O-Face guy.
Yeah.
Name is Greg Pitts. Show him my O-Face. We were looking for this part for forever. And went through 3-4 sessions. We didn't think we were going to cast it. And then this guy he hasn't given up acting, but he's living in Florida. He's an acting teacher down there, put himself on tape. And he sent me the tape and just delivers one of the funniest performances that I think has ever been on this show.
It's one of my favorite kind of performances as well, because you're just sitting there going, who is this guy?
Right. That was when he sent his tape, I went, I know this guy. Who is this guy? But the thing is, he was in Office Space was 20 years ago. He was ripped, and now he's over 3 bills. So you go.
But even if you
that guy, yes.
I didn't even vaguely remember him from anything when I was watching it, but I was just so happy to see a hilarious, to me, new face in that moment, because I feel like I've gotten used to a lot of the people who are in comedy and are doing really funny things to suddenly be like, oh, this guy is brilliant, and I have no idea who he is.
We never really go to the casting comedy the drawer that has all the UCB kids in it. I feel like we write really funny stuff that if you're just a good actor, you can pull off the comedy.
Right.
You just come in and play it for what it is. And getting back to the handjob karaoke, I didn't quite finish that story, is that while I'm getting jerked off in the booth and singing Take Me Home Country Road, it's all grounded in I have to get through this because I need advertising to talk about my daughter and tell the people of Japan. So it's all rooted in this really real place where this absurd thing is going on. And that's with Greg. He came in and he's locked up by this horrible woman, and he's sort of accepted it. And it's to cartoonish levels, but ultimately he's a prisoner, which is great.
He plays virtual reality where he just watches toy trains go by.
That's his thing, yes.
His fingers are too fat for him to do the toy trains himself.
Yes, yeah. And he has he has one of those chairs that go down the stairs, but it's only 2 stairs, so it's very funny, and it's the slowest descent of 2 stairs you will ever watch. It's a good 40 seconds of screen time we waste on his chair ride.
I'm curious. You're absolutely right that everything that happens in the show, no matter how crazy it gets, there is still an objective behind the characters. I think that's one of the ways that you mean keeping it grounded. Is that as crazy as something is that is happening, there is a reason for it. It's not just suddenly throwing insanity at the screen.
I don't think you're going to laugh if it's not grounded in something. It's just sketch comedy. Then it's funny on the surface, but you're not left with much. If you are watching a dad who's been searching for his daughter desperately and now has to stick his dick in a box and get jerked off, and while he sings "Take Me Home, Country Road," you go, "Oh my God, that's on the surface kind of funny," but when you know what he's going through. And I play it in a very real way where I'm sort of crying through half of it. I can't believe I'm doing this for my daughter, and at the same time getting really angry.
How do you map out the show in the writer's room? Do you start from the hilarious situations and places that you want to take the characters, or from what they want and how they're going to get it?
We set up this last year. She runs away at the end of this, so we knew. So I knew the basic arc of the season. I always know what I want to do when I come in, and then I communicate to the guys and girls that are working with. This is what I want to do. I'll sketch out this terrible map of where I want to go. And then it's really just about filling in the blanks and funny stuff, and they'll pitch me ideas for episodes, and it's all just this puzzle piece for about 3 weeks, where you're just trying to figure out what set piece can go into which box while you're still trying to thread that one story.
The writer's room prior to shooting is only about 3 weeks long?
No, just the breaking of the story.
Oh, just the breaking of the story.
Then I send everybody away, we all write episodes, and then we bring them back, and then we start rewriting everything.
Wow. And so you start from the idea of how the arc of the show and where you want the characters to go, and then you start finding the sort of hilarious things that can happen while they're on that storyline?
Yeah, to have a beginning and an end and figure out which, how do we get there? And what are the ups and downs that we can take to get there? Because I knew the ending and I knew the beginning.
Were you familiar? I mean, you were on The Daily Show for a while as a performer and as a writer as well on The Daily Show?
I wasn't a credited writer, but we wrote everything. The producers and I, or the correspondents and the producers, would go out into the field and we would write together. And that's kind of who I brought over with me to work on the Detour. Brendan Schroff, who was one of my all-time favorite producers who worked there. But I brought a couple other guys with me as well. Because we just had this ability to write on the fly, because you could never force an interviewee to say something that you thought they were going to say. Because maybe they said it in an article beforehand, we'd written jokes around that particular soundbite, and then they go, "Oh, I'm not going to say that."
Or they know that you're fishing for that, and
right.
You're going to make
Oh, you
fun
want
of
me to say that stupid thing I said, in AOL build? I'm not going to say it.
So then,
That 20 years ago, it was okay to do Japanese voices.
that was clearly a setup.
That
was clearly a setup to get Jason Jones to start doing his Japanese voice.
I didn't fall for it.
So when you're writing the show and you're breaking it down, were you comfortable with a writer's room at that time? Like, did you know how to lead a writer's room and to be basically the head writer?
No, not at all. But I knew I wanted to tell a story. On the Daily Show we did these 5-minute stories, basically mini movies if you want, but with real people. And so it was just a bigger version of that. It was storytelling. It was broken down into 3 acts per episode. And I knew, I'd written the pilot pretty quickly, and I knew where I wanted to go with the show. So I had an ending. I had a bunch of different episode ideas. This restaurant idea in the first season. This 2-part bed and breakfast episode. Stuck in Traffic, I thought was an episode, and it was all these road trip tropes. And it was really just, hey guys, what do you got to fill this in? Right. I've got squares. How do you make my squares funnier?
Right. I think this could be a good episode. What do you think could happen in that episode that I think would be good? And then going from there. Were you comfortable telling people when they had an idea that you didn't necessarily love?
That's never an easy conversation, because you pitch me a joke.
Fuck
Just,
no.
no, it doesn't even need to be funny. So it's actually better if it's not funnier. Give me a scenario that happens after this. So we finish our interview, just looking for a bit that happens afterward.
Okay, we finished this interview, and I linger too long around you trying to talk to you about your show and your
Right.
in your writers' room, and you get the vibe that like, oh, maybe he's asking for something. I'm gonna walk away,
Right.
and I follow you into the green room.
Okay, good.
This
good,
doesn't happen ever. I
Okay.
never do that.
Good. Anyone else? Anyone else got any other ideas? You don't want to shit,
Similar to what will happen when we.
Correct, yes.
Good, Ricky. Good, Ricky. Can I get over there?
You want to keep people motivated. You want to keep people pitching ideas. If you shut down, you shit down and shit on.
Similar, yeah, same thing, really.
Same thing. If you shut down too many ideas from one person, they'll clam up.
Yeah.
So you have to go like, oh yeah, good, yeah, that's. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Oh, that's
good.
cool. What else?
Yeah, what else? What else you got? What about like more specifically here? What do you got?
Right.
You sort of pivot and keep them engaged because, you don't want people shutting down in the room and then just go on their computers and playing some games.
In your writer's room for 5 months, just playing solitaire.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing over there? You haven't pitched in like 3 weeks. I don't know. I'm playing solitaire.
Playing with my trains.
Yes, I'm playing trains.
Do you miss The Daily Show?
Not at all.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you look at politics right now, when you read the news, do you even think it would be fun to do that?
I don't even read the news and I know all about it.
Yeah.
Like that's the crazy part. It's just everywhere now. You get onto an elevator, it's there. You look just at your phone, to see who called, and the news is there. Like it's just, you can't escape it. It's become such a big business in America that it's ubiquitous. So
it's also made it unfun to talk about anymore. Not just because it's bad, but because everybody's talking about it.
Sure.
Everybody's talking about it.
They are. Well, I mean, you live in New York, so everyone here is
Yeah, I
talking
guess that's
about
true.
it. They're not talking about it elsewhere. They're working.
Right, here we work to talk about the
Correct.
news.
Yes.
Yeah.
The rest of America, they're busy. They're doing stuff.
I think a lot of them are tweeting too.
Are they? I don't think
And
so.
Facebooking.
No, those are maybe Facebook.
I've
Sure.
got some aunts
sure.
in flyover states that are,
You got to reframe that argument. You're never going to win hearts and minds with flyover. Have you been to flyover? Let's not call it flyover anymore. Flyover is lovely. It's the middle of America really is a lovely place, and I've met so many great people. People talk about the coast and their enlightenment, and you drive 10 minutes out of this city, it's not so enlightened.
Oh, I agree.
So,
Yeah.
I think we need to reframe calling them flyover because they are very much a part of the country.
Landlocked.
Sure, yeah, the landlocked states. The states that don't have a geographical reason to go there. Let's call it that. Filled with great people who,
Sorry, Nebraska. I just don't have a reason. I'm not gonna go.
You don't love corn that much.
No.
know?
No, I don't. I mean, I get a fair amount of corn seasonally around here as well.
Sure, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It is a weed that grows everywhere that we've used for every possible. This is probably made of corn too, right? Everything's made of corn.
Right. Well, because plastic is made from oil, and it's
all
now-
corn, yeah.
Yeah. Should we take some questions from the audience?
Sure.
What do we
Yeah,
got?
why not?
Who has
Why
a
not?
question? Right here.
Oh, look at that. That was quick.
So just curious, what would you say is the most challenging part of being both the creator and starring in the show?
It's always dealing with people. It's always the when you're in charge, dealing with people's egos and people's personalities is always the most difficult thing. And you don't know it until you're in that position. I caught people like shitting on me at the lunch line once, and I'd never even met them. They were like, who does he think he is? Like, what a dick. Like, you know what he said to me? I'm like, I've never said anything to you. I've never met you. How are you shitting on me?
The boss.
You're the boss. Everyone shits on the boss. That's the toughest thing is just, and you have to sort of go, all right. I guess when I was an employee, I probably shit on my boss too. So, you go, yeah. So my advice is don't be the boss.
Have you found that you have to keep, and this is not an assumption on you or your ego at all, but that you've had to keep your own ego in check as the boss as well, and sort of like think about how you're interacting with people and responding to each other?
Yeah, of course. I always said, even when I was a waiter forever, unemployed actor, and I always said I could run this restaurant so much better than these bosses. They don't know what they're doing. And good thing I didn't take that up, or I'd still be a restaurant manager instead of having the great life I have right now. Not that there's anything wrong with managing a restaurant, but you know, it's much better to create a TV show. Let's be honest.
Why?
You're not interviewing a restaurant manager right now, and you
like
never
to.
will.
Restaurateur, I guess I would.
Restaurateur, sure, yes. You're creating. You're doing this stuff. I want a wall of chocolate over there that everyone will put tortilla chips in and eat. You sure about that? You sure that's a good idea?
At the end of my career, yes, do it.
Do whatever. I don't care. It's not my money.
There's a lot of nude scenes. You feature in a lot of nude scenes in the Detour. At least 1 to 2, I think, in the 4 episodes that I watched of this season.
Is there 2 already?
Maybe it's just the mud episode.
You know what the sad part is? I tried to scale back.
Did you really?
I was
That's
gonna
what I
like,
mean.
you're getting naked a lot. Like no one wants to see that. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should scale back.
Why do you think you have that impulse to? Do you just find your body funny?
No. No one else. I gotta give the fans what they don't want. To me, there's nothing. You know, it's a show about keeping everyone back on their heels and never knowing where to turn. And there's nothing more vulnerable than being naked and shit happening to you while you're naked. So I guess that's just an easy comedic trope for me to fall into. But I'll do my best to not get naked for you in the
I
future.
wonder if there's like a supercut of you in the writers' room talking to writers and being like, and then they strip me down and
You know
I
what?
fall
It
and I'm naked and we get a close up of my ass.
It never comes up. It's always like, you know, we're again rewriting on the fly. We go, this scene's not working. Well, what if I was naked? So there's this guy that does these. So I in one episode, I think the last one you saw, I ripped my taint open because I'm in a Yeah, it's awful. But I had this stunt guy that we flew in, and I was wearing little cock pouch, they call them, to hide your junk, and he walks out to do the stunt because he does the Jean-Claude Van Damme splits from behind and on the floor, right onto the mud floor, and he wasn't wearing a cup. He was just letting it fly. And I was like, well, it's down to his knees. No wonder he's letting it fly. He's showing everyone. He's proud of what he's been given. So at least I'm not that guy.
I like that the Jean-Claude Van Damme split still works as a reference, too. That makes me very happy that people still know what that is.
Do you guys? I don't think you guys know.
Does anyone know?
I see a lot of young faces. They don't know
You're
what
shaking
I'm
your head?
talking about.
Oh, so
Maybe from that like Volvo commercial that he did.
I didn't even know about that.
Oh, yeah, it's a great commercial, actually.
Oh, wow. He does the splits in it?
Yeah,
Can he
well-
he can't still do them.
Funny story. Our stunt double actually did it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
poor Jean-Claude. He can't do his splits
He
anymore.
can't. I think he wanted to, but they were like, nah, you're like 90. You're not doing that.
No, I can do it. I can do it.
No, I can't do them still. Yes. I can go between trucks.
And they shot him. They were probably like, great job. Let's get the
Yeah,
double
send
one
him. But here's the crazy how fake show business is. There was a commercial. They produced like a behind the scenes where he's like going up and he's like checking the rigs and stuff, and he didn't do it. That was all the bullshit me because the stunt guy comes in and I'm like, you didn't do it. I saw a behind the scenes video where he was doing it. He's like, nah, they shot that to make it seem like he did it, but it was me and they face replaced.
Oh, poor Jean-Claude.
I know.
If that is the one thing that you have, I mean, he had that and then that weird kick that he did that you would just get your ass kicked if you ever did in real life, which was like the leg goes up and taps people in the face while staying up.
Oh, you just do this. And
Yeah,
he's
it didn't
down.
make any sense. It never made sense. But he could do those two things, and if you can't do the splits anymore, it's got to be so demeaning and kind of.
I think he can still do them. I don't know if he could do it for the duration. This guy could do it for days. He was, in his 20s. He could and he went down so hard. And you saw this. It's just I get out of a mud bath. I'm a little naked, and this girl wants to jump on me, and I'm like fighting her off, and his legs split, and it just goes sideways, and he just goes down, and it really looks like he tears his taint. And then you cut to me screaming with my taint ripped, and that's movie magic for you. It's painful to watch, though.
Next question.
Hi,
Oh, you're coming right up. Well, look at you. That's proactive.
here I am.
I am taking my space.
I was wondering how you got your start in comedy before this and before The Daily Show. Were you always creating your own stuff?
It's funny. I thought I was going to be a serious actor. Clearly, I'm not. I thought I was going to do Shakespeare. I started doing a little bit of Shakespeare in Toronto, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And it just by random one night, we were a little buddy of mine. We were a little drunk, and we were like, "Hey, let's go see some sketch comedy." And we walked into a bar that was doing sketch comedy, and it was so bad. We went, "Hey, we can do this. This would be fun." And we just started doing it. We started doing sort of writing and performing and writing and performing. And everyone, we get a hit sketch and where people actually laughed. And, the bar manager was like, "You got to do that one again." And we were like, "No, we already did it. It's boring." He's like, "Yeah, but the new crowd coming in has never seen it before, so do it again." And we never wanted to do that. We always wanted to be just writing more and churning and churning and churning. So that was always part of what I liked about it. But bar managers hated it because we'd kill one night and then bring in all new material the next night and die. So
were you not writing at all prior to that one night where you went and saw this sketch comedy?
No, never. It was that one night. It was just inspired by awful comedy.
And when you and your friends started writing, did you find that you immediately had an addiction to writing and creating your own content, or was it just about you knew this is where you could perform consistently and get laughs?
There was nothing better than something that we thought was really funny that we could then share, and that's really all this is sitting with good friends, making ourselves laugh, and then sharing that with other people. Hopefully you're going to find a common audience that think like you, that have the same sensibility as you, and you're just making them laugh. It's great.
And when did it start
That's why it's better than being a restaurant manager.
When did you start to see that it could be a career, or that it could pull you away from doing dramatic acting? And do you have any interest in doing dramatic acting?
I do. Yeah, sure. I'll take any job.
Don't look at me.
I'll take your job right now. I'm going to do the next interview. No,
Far cry from dramatic acting.
No, you're pretending you really care about what I'm saying.
Sure, yeah.
Good.
It's drama,
I totally buy it. It's season 4. Who cares? Holy shit, dude. See? Very good.
No, because it's not you or the show that I would ever feel that way about. But the feeling of holy shit, dude, is such a common feeling.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure you especially it can't feel good for you if we can just switch this for a second.
Let's go.
Because I'm tired of talking about myself. It can't feel good for you having watched a movie of some celebrity that you've probably respected in the past, but it's done such a piece of shit, and you got to get out here and pretend you like what they've done. That's acting. That's dramatic acting. That's all you're doing.
It depends, because so much goes into making a movie. Like so much can make something a piece of shit.
Sure.
And once
it's mostly writing, though.
It's mostly writing, and then also it's executives trusting the writing and then not allowing the good writing to go through and forcing other writing. Like, you can just tell when something has been destroyed at some point in the process.
Yeah.
And it's rarely ever, I think, the actor's fault.
No, I've seen some bad actors.
Yes, of course.
But also, big actors, they're technically choosing those roles.
Yeah.
So it's kind of your responsibility to choose better projects. And I know they're not always out there, and maybe I might have to skip around, but it's worth it to find good stuff, isn't it?
As an actor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
If we're talking like, A-listers.
Right, but A-listers
take a beat. You're not going to be in the news cycle for 6 months. It's okay, because you're going to come back with a really great movie that you've really sourced and really found a great story to tell.
The average life of the A-lister right now, to me, is kind of a bummer, because it just seems like do a small movie for scale. Hopefully that makes you an A-lister, so it gives you an award nomination, so you can be an A-lister and then do a Marvel movie. And it just, like, that cycle seems to continue and continue. And it's like, I realize it's a big payday, but is that all that you really wanted?
But that's only the last, 7 years of Marvel dominating?
Yeah.
That'll change. Like, the first couple Marvel movies that no one cared about. They were, the first Avenger, what was that? No one.
Right, now they are movies.
Yes, yeah, they're everything.
Yeah.
They are our comedies now. I said this to somebody that's saying that, we don't make a lot of comedies anymore. And it's because the Marvel movies are basic comedies. So
basic operative word there.
Correct. Yes. But they are action movies, but they are comedies, and you're getting your laughs out. You're like, I don't need to see a straight up Adam Sandler comedy anymore. I can go see the Marvel movies and also enjoy some of the action along the way.
Do you have any interest in making movies?
Who doesn't?
Of course.
No,
I'm not like acting in them.
Do you have any interest in being rich and famous?
No, writing movies or direct. Well, you don't necessarily direct that often, do you?
I direct enough to keep my DGA healthcare, sure.
But do you have movie ideas or want to?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got, this is not a one line business. You were over here. You got to be successful. You just have to have as many irons in the fire as possible. And it's you write movies over here. Some you get paid for, some you don't. You pitch TV shows. I've got 2 shows in development already, and hopefully they may not go anywhere. This was my 9th show that I sold. Sorry, 10.
Right,
10,
you told
10
me that,
sold.
yeah.
So that's all the work. I was paid to write and paid pretty well to write, and this was the 10th one, and it finally
10th
went.
television show that you
Correct.
sold.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was the first one to go to air.
It was the first one to get a pilot, even. And then, because then it was like, oh, I'll get a pilot. That's amazing. And then, I figured it was done. And then they picked it up to series, and now here we are 4 seasons later. And
Can I ask you a question? So you've sold 5 shows. Those 5 shows have not gone to pilot or gone to air. When you're writing your 6th show that you're planning on selling, do you put as much effort into the writing of that show as you did the first 5?
I always do.
You always do.
Because ultimately, if it gets made, you're still responsible for it. So if you half-ass something just to go, I don't care anymore, they're not going to pick it up, and it gets picked up,
You got to rewrite it.
then you get this half-ass project that you're now in charge of. If some executive likes your half-assedness, because they're a half-assed executive, your name is now attached to a half-assed project. So you always want to make it as good as you possibly can while you're in the situation you're in.
Did the 10 shows or the 9 that you sold before this, were they all written pilots, or were they concepts, ideas that you sold and then wrote a pilot, or had a spec script and then sold that?
No, they were all pitches to networks. They buy the pitch and then commission.
Never a spec script?
Never a spec, no.
Right.
No, I don't know if spec works.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It might work with agents and stuff, but I think everyone wants to hear a pitch nowadays because they have the attention span of gnats. And but also they
No one reads anything unless they're
no.
like, yeah.
They don't even read the scripts. They get the coverage of the scripts, like a 4-page summary, like the Mueller report. Like you read the summary. No one read the report.
The summary by an intern who
Yes.
is, yeah.
Yes. So they want to be involved in the process too. So they want to get their own ideas in there. They have thoughts of where the character should go. And if you just hand them a script, they can't do that.
Right.
An idea where you're like, this guy's a guy, he's a great reporter, he wears blue all the time, and
Love blue.
White sneakers to make himself feel younger. And they're like, well, what if he wore glasses? And you go, fuck, I don't care, sure. And it's the people who fight back that never really get anywhere. They're like, no, he's definitely got 20/20 vision.
It's funny because I just went to try to get LASIK this morning. And
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going until you can walk into 7-Eleven and just go, and you're
Well,
done.
they said no.
Oh, they said, what?
They said your eyes have changed too much since last year, so we're not, like, you can't get, it wouldn't make sense for you
You
to get
got
LASIK right now.
rejected from the
I got
healthcare system that reaps money over money.
Good doctor.
Really? Oh, he's a good doctor. Okay.
I would say.
So he's rich enough. He doesn't need
My
to-
first time seeing him, and I thought he was pretty good to be like, we're not going to do it for you.
You're not a suitable candidate.
Yeah.
For LASIK.
We're not going to fuck your eyes up even more than they already are.
You're stuck with glasses, nerd.
You will always be weak in the eyes of anybody without glasses. You will not survive the apocalypse. Jason, man, it's always fun to have you on. Thanks so much for coming by.
I gotta be honest, this is one of my favorite places to come.
Oh,
It
that's
really
so
is.
nice
It really
to
is
hear.
great, yeah.
Come more. Make more shows,
I see.
more seasons, come more.
I told you the story of the Japanese camp show. I've came enough.
The Detour.
Oh.
The Detour premieres, season 4 premieres tonight.
Tonight.
On
yes.
TBS?
Yes, 10:30.
10:30. Jason Jones, everybody, let's hear it.